Speaker. My second question is to the Premier. Premier, last year you tried to dodge the record of the McGuinty era by distancing yourself from Dalton's team. These weren't your people. Nothing to do with me, you said. But in recent weeks, some of your people have found themselves in hot water. The Sudbury by-election has resulted in your Deputy Chief of Staff, Pat Cervera, and one of your Liberal fundraisers, Gary Loughy Jr., to have allegedly broken anti-bribery laws. Order. The matter is now being referred to federal prosecutors and other police. Premier, can you confirm for this House that you personally hired Pat Cervera as your Deputy Chief of Staff and that you appointed Gary Loughy Jr. to serve as chair of the local police board?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So I've answered questions about the Sudbury by-election system situation many times. I will say again, Mr. Speaker, that yes, Pat Cervera is a member of my staff. The Police Services Board in Sudbury, Mr. Speaker, makes its own decisions. And the fact is that I had decided by the end of November that Glenn Thibeault was the person who we wanted to have as our candidate in Sudbury, Mr. Speaker. And there were subsequent conversations about keeping the past candidate involved. But it's interesting, Mr. Speaker, the member for Lambton-Kent doesn't want to talk about the fact that there is a protest going on outside, Mr. Speaker, about a sex ed curriculum that is going to protect children in this province, in every one of our schools, publicly funded schools in Ontario, Mr. Speaker. He doesn't want to talk about that because he knows, I think, in his heart that it is the right thing to do, and we need to update that curriculum, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Again to the Premier. I'm certain the hard-working officers of the OPP are doing their best as they continue this and all of the investigations into your office. I'm certain they'll find all the evidence they can. But with Ms. Cervera and Mr. Loughy Jr. still working in Liberal offices and a Premier who insists she believes they did nothing wrong, how can the people of Ontario be sure that your office won't double-delete any evidence?
Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, again, I have answered the questions. I've said that we are going to cooperate with the authorities. Of course, we'll cooperate with the authorities, and I've been very clear, Mr. Speaker, all along that that the decision had been made. I had decided by the end of November that Glenn Thibeault was the person who we wanted to have, that I wanted to have as our candidate in Sudbury, Mr. Speaker, and that the conversations that happened subsequently were about keeping the past candidate involved, Mr. Speaker. But you know, I heard the member for St. Catharines talking about the Roma conference, Mr. Speaker. There are people who are here today and who are meeting in downtown Toronto to talk about issues that I would have thought would have been very important to the member for Lambton-Kent, Mr. Speaker, because the issues around investments in infrastructure, the Ontario Good Roads members, Mr. Speaker, they're very concerned about those investments in all of the communities around the province. That's the work that we are focused on doing, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Premier, it doesn't end.
Question.
Well, Premier, it doesn't end there. Orange, gas plants, deleted hard drives, the Sudbury by-election, and a prominent member of your own 2013 transition team, your former Deputy Minister of Education, has now admitted to 3 criminal charges. Premier, in light of the criminal conduct of your own hand-picked advisors, how would you rate the ethical deficiencies of your government compared, say, to the scandals that drove your predecessor out of office? A higher standard of ethics than we got under Dalton McGuinty, or perhaps just as bad?
Speaker, you know, that was a pretty broad-ranging question. And let me just quote back to the member something that he said yesterday. He said it's not the Premier of Ontario's job, especially Kathleen Wynne, to tell parents what's age-appropriate for their children. So, Mr. Speaker, let me just ask the member opposite, what is it that especially disqualifies me for the job that I'm doing? Is it that I'm a woman? Is it that I'm a mother? Is it that I have a Master's of Education, Mr. Speaker? Is it that I was a school council chair? Is it that I was the Minister of Education? What is it exactly that the member opposite thinks that disqualifies me from doing the job that I'm doing, Mr. Speaker?